Good morning, student. Can you all hear me? Can you see my screen? Good morning, everyone. All right. Okay, so record started. Okay, so few announcement here. First of all, don't forget to scan your attendance. And next week, after the class, I will conduct a very short briefing on your midterm. As you all know, your midterm will be fall on week 8. Okay, so next week is week 6. So I will conduct a 20 minutes brief about what are the SOP that you have to follow, the topic cover, how I mark the midterm, okay? What can you do and you cannot do during the midterm online assessment later. So all of you, please remember to attend the briefing, okay? All right. So last week I stopped at this slide talking about apart from property investment, bond investment, apart from property investment, bond investment. Okay, we talk about property, bond. We also talk about a little bit of share investment. So apart of that, these are some of the other types of investment whereby people also would interested to put their money in this investment. Okay, so next will be I also mentioned about gold investment. Okay, so some of the people also would like to buy gold, but then you have to understand that when they purchase the gold, they are actually more toward for capital appreciation. Okay, capital. So you have to remember when we talk about investment, two R you need to remember. The first R is the return. So when we talk about return, it's actually linked to the growth. Okay, and about the growth, it can be divided into two. Okay, first is capital, second is about the income growth. So for gold investment, mostly people are for capital appreciation. They buy gold, they need to store for a long-term period, then only they will see the capital appreciation. So say for example, maybe I ask you, Jasper, when you born, which year is the year that you born? Jasper, which year? 2000 or 1999? You're born in which year? Jasper, you say yes already, you go to sleep already, Jasper? Jasper Siu. Or anyone, can you let me know? You're born in which year? Hello? Can you hear me? Okay, please give me some response. I will really appreciate. Okay, so 1999. So which means that you can see, say for example, you know that Chinese, okay, they have a habit to buy gold, especially for their either baby or later when you are 21st years old, they will actually give you some gold jewelry. So actually buy gold is a habit of Chinese. Say for example, we assume that later later on you born in 1999. So your parents bought you gold, okay, a necklace lah or whatsoever. So you can see here, now is 2021, okay, roughly here already. So you can see the gold rate, although fluctuate up and down, but then you can see in the long term, since the year that you born until now, the capital already appreciate until here. So that's why actually gold is a very, not to say very good, it's a very prosperous, very good investment whereby people tend to buy it to store the value. So it's a long-term investment. It's not a short-term. So you buy the gold already, you will see the capital appreciate after certain years. Okay, so that is what we say about gold investment. Normally is for capital preserve or capital appreciation. Okay, so this this table, you also can see the gold price performance. So you can see over the year, okay, the green color is the positive, which means the capital appreciation. So negative is the depreciation. So if you can see that in 2012 or 2021, although we are hit by COVID-19 pandemic, so you can see here, we actually suffer from the depreciation. But then, as I mentioned before, we buy gold is to see for capital appreciation throughout the long-term period. So you can see plus minus at the end, you see the average still positive. So that's why gold is also considered one good form of the investment, whereby people tend to buy it to store the value. But then when we say income grow, then gold do not have any income growth. So that's why you can see throughout the year, the average of the gold price performance still positive. So in that case, we can conclude that gold is also actually a good form of the investment. Okay. And I last week I also did mention that some of the people that tend to like to collect Chinese painting, Chinese calligraphy or drawing. So if you can see that this picture is what we say I don't know how many prawn but I know one prawn equivalent to 1 million. So the total painting here is about 1.2 billion. So you can see that people draw prawn also can earn so much money. So that's why now you can start to think what kind of animal, what kind of insect you need to draw to keep for your choo or keep for your children. See later on you can get a capital appreciation or not. Okay, so this drawing actually costs total value is 1.2 billion. Okay. And another very expensive painting up to date is this painting called Salvator Mundi, drawn by Leonardo da Vinci. Okay, the value of this painting, this expensive painting, the most expensive painting is 450 million. Okay, sold on November 2017. So this is also, we call that some people tend to collect expensive painting. That is also considered one form of investment. Okay. And another expensive painting, as you can see on this picture, is When Will You Marry? Okay, the cost, the value is actually 300 million. So on February 2015. All right. And another good form of investment is the people, I think when you later on graduated, okay, you start to work, you need to actually contribute your salary to the EPF, KWSP. So if you look at the KWSP, the EPF dividend rate over the year, actually can say that not too bad, at least 5% and above the interest. Okay, the interest that you're going to earn when you put in your money in the EPF, you can see is actually better than you put money in your FD, in the fixed deposit. So consistently, we can see at least got 5%. Okay, the highest interest you can get is actually 6.9% during 2017. All right, so that is also considered one form of investment. People will put money in EPF. Okay. And another interesting investment is people actually invest in burial plot. Burial plot is like when you die already, okay, definitely you need a burial plot, isn't it? So that is also consider, people consider will invest in this. So but then few point for you to actually take into consideration. If you want to buy a burial plot, you can expect for, like, let's say you cannot afford to buy a real property because real property, the price is actually expensive. But then you can consider to buy burial plot, because burial plot is the entry cost is actually very cheap, lower entry cost as compared to your real estate investment. I think one period pot should be 20, at least 10,000 or 20,000 per one plot. Okay. If let's say, what are the advantages if you buy bureau pot? It can be own use or for capital gain. So let's say if you buy already, if you cannot sell, then you got other choice, or you can use it for your own use. So that is actually quite similar to the real property. You can buy it for own stay, or you can rent it out or sell it for investment purpose. So similarly to bureau pot, if you are unable to find any seller or buyer, then you can actually use for your own use after you die. Okay. Generally higher price appreciation than real estate. So we need to say that, provided you buy it at a very low price. Then after that, if let's say the plot is really good feng shui, good place, okay, because buying this kind of property, right, the bureau plot, people will consider the feng shui whether good or not. Then if very good, then you can actually expect your price appreciation. However, do not expect this is a very fast return, because the demand is inconsistent. Because very unlikely people will buy your bureau pot unless that pot is a really good location, good feng shui to their family. Then maybe they will actually pay you higher price to buy the bureau pot. Okay, and also keep in mind that invest only when you have extra money. Okay, then only you can actually put some money to buy this bureau pot. Of course, do not buy in bulk lah, although it's very cheap as compared to real property, but please do not buy in like, oh, very cheap, but then I buy 5 bureau pot lah. So do not think like this. Okay, be mindful of the overall feng shui of the plot. So meaning to say that, as I mentioned, it's not like every pot is actually good for investment. It depends on the feng shui. So if you would like to buy this kind of thing for investment, please take feng shui into consideration. Buy a very good feng shui. Okay, so if you can see what I can during the when you're still alive, okay, when you are still alive, right, you have to struggle to think about whether you want to stay at landed property or whether you want to stay at condominium. After you die already, you also need to make a choice whether you have to stay between, okay, the burial plot, or the other alternative is what we call columbarium. Okay, so burial plot is what we say the landed house lah. After you have died, you die already. Then columbarium is what we Chinese say about 骨灰塔. Okay, is the condo after you have died. So of course, first choice and the second choice, first choice will be the most expensive lah, because land ma. So columbarium will be slightly cheaper. I think 5,000. Okay, not more than 10,000. You should be able to get a columbarium. But for burial plot, I think should be at least 20,000 and above, including if you want to do some feng shui. Okay, so that is human. When you are alive, you need to struggle to fight whether you can stay at landed or you can stay at condo. Then even after die already, you still need to consider whether you want to stay at burial plot or whether you want to put yourself in the columbarium. Okay. And next one is about Bitcoin. Okay, if you are aware that actually Bitcoin quite hot recently. Okay, Bitcoin is actually we call one form of the cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrency meaning to say that they actually use peer-to-peer technology to operate. Peer-to-peer technology meaning to say that no central authority to control. Meaning to say no bank, okay, no proper authority to control this type of cryptocurrency. So since nobody control, nobody own it, okay, this cryptocurrency, everybody can actually take part to buy. Okay, but not many countries accept cryptocurrency at the moment. But some countries like US, they actually accept to use cryptocurrency. Okay, so for this cryptocurrency, you can buy, you can sell. All the transaction is actually done by network without authorization from the bank. Okay, so no control by the bank. So that's why people actually quite afraid whether this one is legalized or not. But then if you can see, since 2012, you can see that the Bitcoin price actually appreciate a lot as compared to today. Actually, the hit is actually early of 2021. So you can see here, appreciate a lot. Okay, one Bitcoin is now equivalent to 34,000 of USD dollar. So if you convert to Malaysia dollar, I think should be one Bitcoin equivalent to 150,000 ringgit, 50,000 ringgit per one Bitcoin. Okay, so actually is not so affordable as compared to early stage. So if you buy during 2012 or early of this stage, then you will experience capital appreciation a lot today as compared to if you enter right now, maybe it's not a good timing yet. But then for Bitcoin investment, you can see that the price up and down, up and down. You can see, suddenly fall down. It's actually similar to share, very volatile or very fluctuate. So it can experience up to the peak. Then you can see, after few months, it fall. So right now, we also do not know will fall to the bottom or not. So this type of investment actually experience dramatic price swing. Okay, price swing, very drama price swing since the day it launched the Bitcoin. So that's why Bitcoin investment is very risky. Okay, very risky investment. But then you have to remember that risky actually has a connection to profit. High risk, high return. You have to take the risk. If you are able to take the high level of the risk, then there is a chance that you can get higher profit. But then some people, they may not able to take the risk. So that's why you can see some of the people that tend to put their money in the FD, because Bitcoin share, the price is actually very, very volatile, very, very price swing. Not many people can take it. Okay, so just for your knowledge, if you have money, you can consider to buy Bitcoin. No need too many lah. One Bitcoin is enough already. Okay, perhaps later on we don't know what will happen in the future lah. Okay, so that is also another form of the investment. Lately, people like to buy Bitcoin. Okay. And of course, some of the people, if you can see, especially our former Prime Minister wife, okay, she like to collect handbag. Of course, the handbag is not Pasar Malam handbag lah. The handbag is actually very branded handbag, Hermes Birkin. Okay, so you can see, one handbag here is equivalent to 1.2, approximate 1.2 million. Okay, here another pink handbag is actually quite similar to one car, 800,000. Okay, lah. Maybe say that the cheapest one is 500,000, equivalent to one house, one landed property at Semenyih. So our former Prime Minister wife actually collected a lot of handbag. So that is also considered one form of the investment. Okay, for all the lady in my class. So if you have money, of course, you can actually consider to buy handbag. That is also one form of very good investment. Of course, must buy a branded one lah. Like you have to learn from our former Prime Minister wife law. Okay. All right. Last but not least, that I introduce you different types of investment, different form like property lah, share lah, okay, Bitcoin lah, gold lah, FD. So you have to think about this one. Which one is the good investment? So how we define good investment? How we define good return? Okay, so this one actually has to link to your individual, your risk profile. Not many people can, as I mentioned, not many people can take the risk. It's not a risky people. Some people are more conservative. So for people who are more conservative, they won't invest in share in Bitcoin because these two are very volatile and are very, very high risk. So that's why they cannot take the high risk. So for them, they might put their money in FD. For them, they might invest in bond because it's actually considered low risk and guarantee return. Okay, but some people, okay, they will actually more aggressive. So aggressive, which means that they are willing to take the high risk because high risk, high return. Okay, so it's actually how we define the good return of investment, right? It depends on your own risk profile. So it's not like we always say that share is a very good form of investment. But then if you do not have the knowledge, if you don't have the time to manage your investment, I don't think that the share investment is very suit to you. You might experience the loss. Okay, so how we define the investment? Normally, you can actually calculate the yield. The yield here is actually is one form of the percentage, okay, expressed in percentage. We use it to define how much return, okay, that you will actually get after the investment. So in order to calculate the yield, you actually can use the annual income, so with annual financial return from the investment divided by the capital value of the investment times 100%. Say for example, the common one will be the property lah, especially commercial property. Commercial property normally we will use yield to define. So for commercial property, the annual income that you are going to receive is actually come from the rental. So rental, annual rental, okay, divided by your capital value of investment will be your property price. Okay, so from that you can get certain type of the percentage. Okay, so for commercial property, normally actually between 5 to 7 or 8%, consider good investment already. Okay, so that is one of the simple formula that you can use it to calculate how much return that you are going to receive. But then bear in your mind that eventually still depends on your risk profile. Remember, there is no such thing we say that guarantee return, 100% guarantee return. Okay, 100% guarantee return, and or some people will say no risk one. This investment no risk one, guarantee will return one. Please do not believe such thing lah. So as I mentioned before, even you put money in the bank for FD, there is a chance that the bank will bankrupt. Just that the chance is very minimal, it's very unlikely. But then still possible, okay, got experience before the bank really fall. So that's why do not believe that there is no risk investment, or people always tempt you say that, oh, this is 100% return. You will get double, triple from your initial capital. Okay, so that's why you can see some of the news, okay, quite many people actually get conned, okay, in what we say a scam. When they actually fall into the trap, people actually promise that 100% you can get the return, then there is a no risk. So some of the people, when they do not have any knowledge, they believe on it, so they will put their money and out, you know that is scam. So the consequences actually is very big. You actually lost most of your saving. So that's why very important, you have to conduct due diligence. Okay, so due diligence is one of the topic that we are going to talk at the end of the trimester. It's very important. All right. Okay, so next we are going forward to property investment. Okay, so out of so many type of investment, the background that I already give you, now we zoom into property investment. Property is a relatively long-term activity in comparison to equity and bond. Okay, what does it mean by long-term activity? So, as I mentioned before, property will not complete overnight. So even though we say a demand increase already, price also adjusted already. But then why the property supply just couldn't respond during the short-term period? Because property cannot complete immediately. Property is a long-term activity. When we talk about property development, the time frame for this development at least 3 to 5 years above, because you need to find a piece of land. Then later on, you need to get funding. You need to engage your consultant team. After that, tender stage, construction stage. So actually all these stages are, when you add up together, it should be at least 3 to 4 years and above. So that's why property is a very long-term activity to construct. It's unlike equity, the share and bond. Very fast you can actually buy the investment. But then to buy a very good property, sometimes you need to wait because property development actually take times. Okay, and still remember I mentioned before or not, property investment is a long-term investment. Long-term investment meaning to say that you buy a house today, you won't see the capital appreciate very fast tomorrow. You have to wait, okay? Maybe if lucky lah, maybe you wait 1 year or maybe 2 years, then only you will see your property appreciate, increase the price. Okay? Unlike share and the Bitcoin, very fast few years later you can see the price up, very volatile, very fluctuate. But for property, it's not. You have to buy ready, keep for some time, then only you start to see the capital appreciate, start to increase. So that is also remembered by property is a long-term investment. It's not a short-term. Okay? Property is tangible, durable. Tangible, what does it mean? Tangible means that something you can see, something you can touch. So when you buy the property already, right? After some time, you can actually get in the property so you can touch, you can see, you can stay inside your property. That is what we mean by tangible, something you can see. But then when you buy the share, when you buy the bond already, right? You cannot see the share, you cannot see the bond. They actually give you a certificate to certify that you are the shareholder of the Sunway. Then you are the bondholder of Maybank. That's all. But then you cannot see the thing by your eye. Okay? But property is different. You buy already, you can somehow stay inside. That is what we meant by tangible. It will stay there as a physical object, something that you can see. So when you're something that you can see, you will feel more secure because that is the thing so big size stand there for you. Okay? That is what we meant by tangible. Durable, I think all of you should be understand. Is what we say long life cycle. The property actually stand a very long time. It's very durable. Okay, something that it will stand very long time, have long life cycle. Because of the durable asset, they can actually accumulate. So when you buy the property already, right, you can actually consider to sell it later in the secondary market after you stay certain year. Okay, let's say you stay already 10 years, so you want to consider to sell. You can actually consider to sell in the secondary market because secondary is the most largest stock market as compared to primary. Okay, that is what we meant by durable. Okay, stand very long time. Maybe you die already, the house is still there. Okay, as a result, we classify property is a substantial investment. Substantial investment is like the ownership, your ownership actually proof by the law. So when you buy the property already, right? Okay, when you buy the property already, you actually sign the S&P. So actually the house belongs to you. So even though let's say now Trey is the owner, Trey is the owner. I put a gun on Trey head. Trey, can you move away? I want to stay inside your house. It's not going to be happen because Trey still belongs to, is still classified as homeowner, the owner of the house. Even though I put a gun on Trey head, even though I want to rob Trey, the house still belongs to Trey because the ownership is actually proved by the law. So as I mentioned before, even though your house collapsed, even though your house burned into ashes, you still is the landowner. You still have the piece of the land, and you have to understand that the land value actually more valuable than the building value. Okay, so that is what we meant by it's a substantial investment. Okay. And when we talk about property investment, they are two way. Okay, very important. Two way of the investment form. You can either invest direct or indirect. Or and na. Okay, direct you can actually invest as an investor, developer, owner. Okay, I talk about owner first. You invest directly as owner, which means that you buy the house already, you don't intend to sell, you don't intend to do investment, you just buy it, you just buy it and stay for own stay only. You occupy the place, so we can classify you as owner market under the owner part. Okay, whereas investor, perhaps you buy already, after some time you actually looking for investment, you want to sell it, or maybe the starting you buy, you actually want to do investment, you don't intend to stay, so actually you are looking for investment, so you are classified under investor category. You buy it, later on you are going to sell it to look for capital appreciation, so that is under investor category. Okay, you also can call yourself as developer, especially maybe some of you are very rich, you have your own land. Okay, so you want to build your own bungalow, CBD, you can do it. That is also that you can classify yourself as developer because you have land. You can engage your consultant, you can engage your own team to kickstart your own property development activity. So you classify yourself under developer, also can, individual developer. All right, this is what we call directly. You invest, you buy the property directly, either you become the owner, either you become the investor, or either you become the developer. Okay, so you are going to own the house forever yourself, belong to you. Okay, whereas indirect means what? Purchase share in property company. Okay, first thing purchase share in property company. Let's say the property company is Sunway, SP Satir, Equal World. So actually you can buy their share. You can buy Sunway share, you can buy Equal World share. Okay, so that is first category. You buy the share in property. I say property, this word is very important because we are talking about property investment. If you don't have this word, then it's wrong already. If you say purchase share in company, means non-property also can? No, must be property only. Okay, because now we are talking about how many form of property investment. So all of you, please wake up and listen carefully. If you don't want your marks, your midterm marks so low, you have to listen carefully to what I say. Okay, all right. Purchase share in property company. The property word is very important. Okay, or company that deal with property. Again, the property word is here. All right, or property unit trust. So later on, we are going to talk about this one called REIT. REIT. Later on, we are going to talk about this one. Okay, property unit trust is actually classified under REITs. REIT, or other securities investment vehicle. So if let's say if you cannot afford to buy property, we know that buy property very expensive, need to fork out 10%, then every month need to pay installment, need to maintain the property. I cannot afford. How? Never mind. You can actually invest indirect. Indirect is what we call you purchase their share, you purchase their unit trust from the property company. So from when we say that purchase share, you no need so high investment. Maybe 100, maybe 1,000, you can become the shareholder already, property shareholder. That is also considered property investment, but indirect. So that's why you have to make these two very, very clear. When we say direct, is you own the house forever, okay? Or we say you have the full ownership, 100% ownership when you invest directly, 100% is belong to you. Then now I want to ask you, how about indirect? Do you have any ownership, class? Answer, please. When you invest indirect, do you have any ownership? Yes or no? Class, anyone? Can you respond in the message chat? If you invest indirect, do you carry any ownership? Polling say yes. Lirong say no. Okay, let's say I ask polling. If you say yes, right, carry ownership. Is it 100% polling? If you say yes, carry ownership, do you think that ownership is 100% as compared to direct? For direct, you are going to own 100%. How about indirect? Do you carry full ownership? Yes or no? Full or not full ownership? Not full ownership. Yes, correct. Okay. So as compared to direct, indirect not going to carry full ownership. Maybe partial, maybe minimal. It depends on how much percentage you own, how many share you own. Like let's say just now Charles RM1 ringgit, maybe one unit RM1 ringgit. I think you cannot enter the market at least 100 or 1,000. Okay, at least 100 and 1,000. You can call yourself as shareholder. You are the owner of the company, but then the ownership may be 0.0001% only. Okay, still classify under ownership. You still have, but the percentage is very, 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 very low. Okay, as compared to direct, you have full ownership 100%. So later on tutorial, we are going to talk about what is the difference between these two, direct, indirect. Okay, in lecture, I'm not going to talk more lah. Okay, in tutorial, we are going to discuss more. All right, just some little background for you first. Make sure you understand what does it mean by direct, what does it mean by indirect. Okay. All right, now we talk about direct first. As I told you, direct, they are classified under three sectors. Okay, owner, you own it. Investment, let's say you buy the house for investment. Then later on, you can act as a developer. So here is the owner, here is the investor, here is the developer. Okay, we start from here first. So owner market is actually will emerge one value called rental value. So in the owner market, normally it actually depends on demand and supply of the property. So if the demand very good, so the rental value will be very high under the owner market. Okay, sometime maybe I make this one clear first. Sometimes we don't only say owner. Sometimes we will say occupier. Occupier. Second one, owner is like you buy the house already, you stay there. Okay, so you are the owner. Some people like you, maybe you actually rent the house in where? In Sungai Long. So you stay at Sungai Long. So actually you are classified as occupier. you occupy in Sungai Long. Occupier, you still classify under owner market. Okay, you occupy at that area. So occupier, which means that they might not own the house, but they stay in that house. So that is actually under occupier. Owner, occupier actually belong to the owner market, which actually will determine the rental value. So if the demand very good, like I mentioned before, student population increase, then you will see your rental value start to increase. Okay, then when the rental value start to increase already, it actually trigger the investment market. Say like I mentioned before, after Utah moved into Sungai Long, student population start to increase. Okay, when the student population start to increase, they're looking for accommodation. So when they start to looking for accommodation, on the rental value start to appreciate. So it actually trigger the investment market. The investor actually start to buy more property at Sungai Long, because when the rental value increase, remember it will trigger the capital value also will appreciate. So that's why it boosts up the investment market. Many investors start to buy property because they foresee that the capital value in Sungai Long will increase. Because when rental value increase, the couple is there. They are like the couple lah. When the rental value increase, the capital value definitely will increase. Okay. Then these two value, the rental value, the capital value will actually affect and also give a signal to the developer. Oh, developer foresee that, Sungai Long many got Utah already, student population also increase a lot. I think that is a good timing for us to supply of new place. So that's why you can see when since Utah moved into Sungai Long, there are many new development project at Sungai Long and also Mahkota Ceras to cater the need, to gather the demand and supply at Sungai Long. So actually you can see these three markets, they are connected. They are linked together. So when the rental market increase, it will actually trigger the capital value also increase. These two value combo together will actually affect, give a signal to the developer to either supply the new places or redevelop existing building also can. Not necessarily supply new place. It can be redevelop existing building also can. Okay? All right. Indirect. The advantage of indirect property is that many problems of associated with direct property such as illiquid, high transaction costs, lengthy sales disappear. Okay, we know that illiquid, liquidity means how fast, how soon that you convert your investment into cash. How fast? We know that property direct investment is illiquid because when you need to sell your property, you won't get your money so soon because you need to find the buyer. Then all the process ding ding dong dong, I think maybe year end, maybe next year, then only you can get your money. So that is what we say illiquid. Okay, but then for indirect is liquid. Let's say you buy the Sunway share already. Today I need money that I need to withdraw. So you can withdraw from the account very fast. Within I think 3 to 5 days you can get back your money very fast. But then for property, I don't think 3 to 5 days, maybe 3 to 5 months, at least half year and above. So that's why property direct is illiquid. Indirect is very liquid. If you want to withdraw, if you want to redeem, it's very fast. 3 to 5 days, working days. High transaction cost is for property direct. We know that when you buy property, you need to fork out at least 10% of the down payment. Okay, so that is actually quite big lump sum. But then for indirect, right, as I mentioned just now, maybe some investment 100 ringgit or 1,000 ringgit, you can start to enter, you can start to buy the share already. You can start to buy the unit trust already. So that's why it's very affordable. Affordable because low initial investment as compared to direct. Okay, lengthy sales time. I think as I mentioned before, if you want to sell your share, it could be very fast. Okay, but if you want to sell your property, sometime you need to wait. Maybe no buyer, nobody want to buy. Perhaps you price too high. So it takes time for you to find a buyer also. It does not mean today you say you want to sell your property, tomorrow a lot of buyer. No such thing. So that's why property direct is lengthy sales price. Okay? Indirect property investment is a good way of allowing small investors to pool their fund. So it means affordable. So let's say now you say that, hey, I want to invest in property, but I don't have sufficient money to buy property. How? Never mind. You can start small first. You can invest in property share. You can buy Sunway share. You can buy EcoWorld share, SP Satir share, okay, IGB or Pavilion share also can. You also can actually, that part also classify under property investment, but indirectly. So that's why you have to be careful. When we say property investment, not necessarily direct. It could be indirect. Okay? All right. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the REITs. REITs is about property unit trust. They only invest in property only. Okay? Say for example, let's say Pauline. Pauline is the REIT investor. Okay, so Pauline invest in REITs. Say for example, I invest in Pavilion REITs. Pavilion REITs, when we say REITs, right, they only invest in real estate. They only invest in property, either residential cannot, either commercial property like hotel, office, shopping mall, theme park, medical center. Okay, so for REITs, they only invest in real estate only. Okay. So when they invest in like shopping mall, okay, office or theme park, they will collect the rental from the tenant. So when they collect the rental already, right, for REIT investor, they can enjoy two forms of the growth. Capital growth, income growth. Income growth, they will collect dividend, similar to share. If the company perform very well, they will declare the dividend as the income. So it's similar to share. Okay? And at the same time, for REIT investor, they will enjoy capital appreciation or depreciation, which means that let's say today you enter the price is 25 cents per unit. The 25 cents may increase or may decrease in the future. Increase means appreciate lah. Decrease, depreciate. So you can enjoy capital growth, but it's not guaranteed lah. All right. It's actually quite similar to share, just that REITs only invest in property only. Okay. All right. This is the REIT structure. Okay. This is the REIT structure. Say for example, Pavilion here lah. You buy Pavilion REITs. Okay. For Pavilion, let's say you buy, let's say Pauline here. Pauline buy REITs, Pavilion REITs. We call Pauline as unit holder. It's not shareholder. We call her as unit holder. Okay. So unit holder will invest in REITs. So they will purchase by unit lah. So after that, if the REITs earn very good, then the REITs will pay Pauline distribution maybe in the form of capital growth or in the income growth. It depends. Okay, so this part done. For REITs, right? For every REIT, you always start from the sponsor. The sponsor should be the parent company. So if Pavilion REITs here, the sponsor should be Pavilion, the company itself. If let's say this one is Sunway REITs, the sponsor should be from the company itself, Sunway. Okay, so the sponsor should be the parents company. Okay, so Sunway, they will appoint REIT manager, REIT manager. REIT manager, the manager is actually manage the REITs itself, manage the Pavilion REITs, which means that they have to develop the property. Okay, so they will manage the REITs, either to develop, either to manage the REITs. Because this one is you need to manage so that you got money correct or not? So that you got money to pay the distribution So they need some people to manage the REITs. So here they provide management services. Of course manager, do you think they do things for free? No, they will collect management fee. So the Pavilion REITs will pay management fee to REIT manager. Okay, so Pavilion REITs let's say REIT manager manage the Pavilion REITs already, right? Pavilion REITs will actually invest in property only. So say for example, office shopping mall, or industrial building also can. Okay, all these building you need somebody to manage, because like let's say office or shopping mall, right? The tenant come and go. You need somebody to manage. You need somebody to find the tenant. You need somebody to collect the tenant, to renter, to manage the property itself. Because this property take time to manage. You need to do maintenance. If let's say there is any leaking or repair, you need to do the replacement. So that's why they will appoint property manager to manage the property itself. So property manager will provide management service to manage the property. Of course, they do not do things for free. We have to pay them service fee. Can you see here? Fee. All right. Then trustee. Trustee is normally go to bank lah. Okay. Trustee normally classify under bank. It's a body to govern the structure of the REITs, to ensure that the REIT structure actually goes accordingly. So you can see trustee act on behalf of unit holder to ensure that the REIT structure, the REIT investment is managed properly. It's not like the people take the money already, then muscle pocket. No such thing. So that's why they need to appoint a trustee, a third party to act on behalf of the unit holder to see the overview of the risk management. So of course, trustee do not do things for free. They will collect trustee fee. So you can see this REIT, right? This one charge fee. Property manager also charge fee. Trustee also charge fee. So your distribution here should be minus fee number 1, fee number 2, fee number 3. So minus 1, 2, 3. Then the balance only give you to polling. So that's why the distribution here will become smaller after deduct the management fee to REIT manager, after deduct the management fee to property manager, and after deduct the fee for trustee. Your distribution here will become even smaller. So that is what weaknesses lah. Your distribution will become smaller because you need to pay this fee, and this fee. Okay. So, say for example, this is a proper, this is a proper one, Sunway REITs. So you can see, you buy Sunway REITs, as I mentioned before, right, the sponsor always come from the parent company, the Sunway Berhad. So trustee here is RHB Bank. So they appoint Sunway REIT Management Sdn Berhad as the REIT manager, and the property manager is Jerin Property. So you can see they only invest in property, retail, office, hotel, services, medical services, and university, and also industrial. So remember, REIT REITs only invest in property only. Okay? So this is also one form of the property investment, indirect. Okay? Indirect. All right. Next one will be unit trust. So right, you actually can see some of the bank like Public Bank, CIMB Bank. They got actually this investment called unit trust. Like the famous one will be the Public Bank, Public Mutual. Okay, Public Mutual, they have their own unit trust. So unit trust is actually a form of the collective investment that allow investors with similar investment objective to pool their fund to be invested in a portfolio of security or other asset. So you can see for let's say this is one of the fund. Let's say I call it fund A lah. This fund A actually invests in foreign country more. Okay, 88.9% invest in foreign country. Then only 2% invest in Malaysia. The rest of the money they invest in foreign country. Where are the foreign country? Top 5 foreign country. Most of the money they invest in China, okay, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Korean and Singapore, so Asian country. Okay, as you can see, this fund A, they also invest in different sector. Technology and communication carry the larger portion. Then only financial, industrial. Okay, and top 5 holding, which means that fund A invest in the company of Taiwan Semiconductor, Tencent, Samsung, Alibaba, and AIA. So you can see for unit trust, fund A, they actually diverse. Diverse meaning to say that they do not put all egg in one basket. I repeat again. Diverse means diversity, diversification, diversify. Diversify the investment. Diversify means what? You do not put all egg in one basket. If you put all egg in one basket, if your basket fall, all your egg will be broken. So that's why when you do investment, diversification is very important. You have to diversify your investment. You cannot put all your money in one platform only. So that's why unit trust, why so good about unit trust is you can see they not only put money in foreign, they also put a bit money in Malaysia. Of course, when you put money in foreign country, right, they won't put all money in China. They put a bit in Taiwan. They put a bit in Hong Kong. Even the sector, right, they also put a bit in technology, communication, finance. So it's actually different from share. When you buy share, let's say you only buy Samsung, you buy Samsung share. You only invest in Samsung, one only, satu only. But then for unit trust is part of it. So that's why unit trust actually got another better characteristic is what we call diversification. You won't put all egg in one basket. You have to spread your investment in different platforms. So that's why when you graduate, when you have money, remember to diversification. Remember, if you got money, you put a bit in FD. You put a bit money in share. You put a bit money in bond. So later on, if the share not perform well, your FD, your bond still perform good lah. So that's why plus and minus, you still earn your investment, rather than you put all things in the basket. Then if the basket fall, what happened to the egg? All fall, all also broken already, lor. Okay, so that is also unit trust is another form of the good investment. The first characteristic, as I mentioned, diversification. Okay, actually I always remember LAD lah. L is liquidity. A, affordability. Affordability. D, diversification. Unit trust got LAD. Liquidity means similar to share. If you want to sell, very fast. Sell after that, 3 days, 4, 5 days, you can get the money. So it's very liquid. Affordability, very afford. 100 ringgit, 1,000 ringgit, you can kickstart your investment. So it's actually very cheap lah. Diversification, as I mentioned before, when you see the portfolio, they actually won't put all things in one basket. They spread your investment. So that's why unit trust actually got LAD. LAD means liquidity, affordability, diversification. Okay? All right. Let me talk a bit more. Okay, last but not least, as a conclusion, I talk about share already, bond, unit trust, REITs, property. Okay, liquidity, I already talked about it. For property is illiquid because it won't so fast to get back your money. For bond, also illiquid because bond is very long term, at least 10 years. So that's why bond investment is illiquid, similar to property. They are classified under long-term investment. Okay? Publicly quoted price. Publicly quoted price, which means that, let's say, if you want to do investment, can you find the information online? Can you get the information easily? Because when you do investment, you need to study, correct or not? You need to do some research. You need to do some study. So let's say if you want to do some study or research, can you get the information easily? So out of all these platforms, right, when you buy share, should be very easy because all the share information, the price, the performance, you will be able to get it very easily from the company itself, their annual report. But for bond and property, as I mentioned before, you hardly find a central place to get the information. Like I prepare the slide for property development, I always need to refer to different platforms to get the information. That's why, not to say do not have information. Yes, got information, just that not so easy to get lah. Okay, so that's why here, no, difficult to get the information online. It's quite subjective. All right. Number 3, level of governance, meaning to say that REITs is the highest. Can you see? REITs is the highest. Because why we say governance? This is what we say governance. You got trustee, you got REIT manager, you got property manager. Actually, the whole structure is very, very structured. It's very good. So you will feel more secure. This is what we say, the governance very high. Because it's very proper managed. You got trustee, you got manager, you got property manager to manage the property and also the REITs. So that's why the level of governance is very high. It's the highest from the REITs. Okay. Number 4, minimum amount of the investment mean initial investment. Okay, high for bond, high for property, because you need one lump sum, big lump sum of the money, then only you can invest in property. So that's why for bond and property, not affordable. The rest is affordable, suitable for small investor. Okay. Number 5, income payout. Income payout is how much income that you can get. For property, let's say your rental is 1,000. Of course, you collect 1,000. That's why 100%. Okay, bond as per coupon rate. Is the coupon rate 20%? Then you get 20%. All right. Discretionary. Okay, this word you need to learn now. Discretionary meaning to say that the surplus balance income after deduct tax, fee, charges, plus etc. So discretionary meaning to say that your surplus income after deduct the taxes lah, the fee lah, the charges lor. So that's why here they do not give you any percentage because it is subjective. It depends. But then the income should be deduct any fee incur, any charges that you need to pay. So that balance will be pay you as income lor. So as I told you before, for unit trust, for REITs, for equity, you need to pay some SST. You need to pay some management fee or also broker fee in case you engage broker or if you in case you engage a consultant fee. Okay. Last but not least, diversification. So you can see here, unit trust REITs is high. Unit trust, I think I already mentioned, they do not put all egg in one basket. So they actually invest in different platform. For REITs also the same. They don't only invest in one property. They invest in different property. Like I showed you just now, hotel, industrial, office, retail. So that's why that is also classified under diversification. Whereas the others is they only invest in one thing only. So that's why they do not have any diversification. Okay? All right. So we break for 10 minutes. Okay, what time now? Come back at 9:20 a.m. All right. And meanwhile, attendant today, respond today not good. Okay. I want all of you to answer this quiz. So if I find out at the end of the class, I didn't see you answer the quiz, even though you scanned the attendance already, then I will mark you as a absent. So all please take note. Please answer the quiz. Okay. If you didn't answer, but you scanned the attendance already, later I will turn it as absent also. So please remember to answer the quiz. Very short quiz only. All right. See you later. All right. Okay, student, welcome back. We are. Okay, let's continue. All right. When we talk about property demand, who are the investor? Who are the investor who are actually interested to invest in property? Who? Okay, first, large financial institution such as pension fund like EPF. Okay, insurance company is like AIA lah or Great Eastern lah, for example. Investment and unit trust like CIMB Trust or Public Mutual. They take your money already, right? Like let's say EPF. Okay, you actually contribute the money into EPF account. Do you think that they just put the money in the safety box without doing anything? No, they will actually take your money to do investment so that to make the money grow so that later on every year they give you dividend. So that's why most of all these large financial institutions, they will invest in property to grow the investment so that they can pay you either dividend or either interest. Okay. Apart from that, public government or private property government company, overseas investor, bank or building society, individual like us, they will also invest in property for either or capital growth or income growth. Okay, so these are some of the people party who like to invest in property. Okay, we are okay. Property supply can be classified by risk and return. When we classify as property supply, it can be divided into three types of property. First type, prime property. Okay, prime property is for those property located at very excellent location. Excellent location. Say for example, the CBD, Central Business District, the KLCC area, the Golden Triangle. So why we classify here as an excellent location? Why we classify the property here as prime property is because this property located at very good location with good accessibility, very good connectivity, and with a lot of modern facility and amenity. So that's why property located here actually classified as a prime property. So most of the foreign investor or local investor who can afford, they will normally look for property at prime location because here will offer greatest return for least risk. Greatest return for least risk. Why we say so is because it's a very good location and the connectivity, accessibility also very good. So that's why the demand here is always very high and the price here also very high. So that's why here we classify here as a prime property. Okay. Second will be the secondary property. For this type of property, normally located at fringe area. Fringe area. Fringe, and fringe area. So for fringe area, not in the center, uh, away a bit from central. Say for example, Bangsa South, okay, PJ or Cheras, all these actually classify under fringe area. Secondary property location still consider quite viable, very good also. Not to say very excellent, but because they're near to city central, we classify it as a viable, good location. Connectivity also quite good. So that's why here located many good type of a property. The tenant here also quite okay as compared to tertiary property. Okay. Tertiary property will be those areas located at suburban, like Kajang, Semenyih, Rawang, all these areas we classify under tertiary area. So the property here will be classified as a tertiary property. So for tertiary location, normally, right, here will be not so good location, quite poor location because further away from city center, quite outskirts already. So the connectivity, accessibility might not good as the prime and the secondary. So for this type of property here, maybe we'll struggle to attract, maybe struggle to attract the tenant because too far away. Even though we provide MRT, we provide highway, but still consider quite far as compared to prime and secondary. So that's why here will be quite struggle to attract good tenant. All right. So this is what we call prime location. So prime location, we know that under the CBD, the KLCC area, the Golden Triangle area. So most of the tourists, most of the investors will actually quite interested to come to this area due to the popularity. The prime location always have the issue of scarcity scarcity of land in the city center. And because of this limitation, the land price, the property price tend to be very, very high. And because of the area also quite small, limited, that's why the development in city center already saturated. Saturated meaning to say that already no more land in the center for you to develop. So that's why already saturated. So that's why you will see that most of the development right now move away to city limit. This is the area in Pudu, Cheras. This area, the Cheras here is not Mahkota Cheras, it's not the Cheras C180, you know. The Cheras here is actually the Sunway Velocity area. Sunway Velocity area. That area is actually classified under Cheras. So these two areas actually is a city limit, very near to city center. But it's not in the city center, very near to the city center. This area actually consists of many old building, very old building, rundown building. But then because of their location, very, very, very good, quite near to city center. So that's why many developers actually aiming to look forward to buy land in this area for redevelopment. And then thanks to MRT1, okay, if you can recall, MRT1 actually passed by Cheras a few stations, the Leisure Mall, the Cochrane, okay. So actually MRT boosts up the area, boosts up the connectivity and also attractiveness of this area. Still remember chapter 1 or not? Infrastructure improvement will increase the site value. This is what happened in Pudu and Cheras. Because of MRT, enhance the connectivity already, okay? Easy to reach this area, actually boost up the redevelopment. That's why you can see Sunway Velocity more. And then Sunway actually kickstart a lot of development in Cheras. Not only shopping mall, medical center, university, hotel, office, and residential in Cheras because of the MRT. And thanks to the Sunway also, that's why others developer also try to find their luck whether can get land in this area or not. Okay. All right. Why Cheras? Okay. Why Cheras? This one actually, this article just released not long ago. I think last 2 weeks. So you can see here, bordering Ampang to the north and the Kajang, Cheras is one of the oldest residential area in KL, with part of it located in Selangor. So location is Cheras' biggest advantages because 6 km from the KLCC, very near to KLCC. Just now I already say KLCC already saturated. No more land for development already. So that's why the developers start to look backward to city limit. And it offer various choice to meet the different buyer needs and the budget. Then you can see Cheras actually evolved into a business, education, entertainment for city dweller, the opening of IKEA Cheras, My Town, and also Summer Velocity. So that's why I'm quite happy to stay at Cheras because very convenient. I can just go to Summer Velocity. IKEA, My Town, actually quite nearby also. That's why it created a vibrancy to this area. And you can see here, Cheras actually was one of the top 3 most searched location. So actually many people looking for property in Cheras. So it comes to no surprise that developer are eyeing to increase the land bank and roll out mixed development here because of proximity to the city center and easy connectivity to the MRT. So that's why it proved that what I say just now. Okay, MRT actually boosts up the redevelopment area in these Cheras. Okay, um, you will surprise that here, increasing inquiry for land outside city center. So here, this article actually mentioned that there are many developer looking for area land in outside the city center because already the city center already reached saturated. So that's why you can see many are interested with plot. Plot here means land located within 10 km radius from the city centre such as Sungai Besi or land in major business hub in the Klang Valley. So here you can further read there are few developer actually looking for already bought the land outside the city centre because city centre already saturated. All right. And demand for office outside KLCC. So this is what we call office decentralization trend has already going some time because city center very jam very congested. So thanks to what? Remember what we learned in macro or not? Technology and also infrastructure is the what? Catalyst for property development. When we have internet, do you think that we need to go to the office? No need. We can work from home. When we have infrastructure like MRT, do you think that you still need to drive the car to city center, to your workplace? No. You can take MRT, you can take LRT. So that's why office right now move toward decentralization. Okay? Many choosing to locate their operation in the city limit rather than city center because here further mentioned that they are starting moving away from the city center to the fringe area. So the fringe area is like what I mentioned just now, PJ lah, Bangsa South lah, Pudu lah, Cheras. The reason why, because avoid heavy traffic congestions and for easier accessibility between home and workplace. And they also drawn by the cheaper rent. So that's why they move away from city center because city center very congested, very traffic jam, very serious, and the rental also very high. So that's why here the trend is move away from city center to the city limit. That is what we call decentralization. So what we have learned in microeconomic centralization is all theory only. But in reality, because of the trend already changed, because of the improvement of infrastructure technology, you can see that most of the house, most of the office, they start to move away, decentralization. Okay, so theory we learn is one thing, but in practically, in reality, is another thing. So that's why you have to know how to differentiate. Do not just copy and paste from the lecture note and lecture slide. All right. All right, and we talk about property supply. You can also think about they actually divided into freehold and leasehold. Freehold, I think everybody know, is forever. You own the land, you own the property forever and ever. Okay? But then now I want to ask you, do you think lah, seriously lah, do you think that you will own it forever? Anyone? Yes or no? Yes means forever. No means no. Jasper, you say no. Why leh? Charles, why you say no? Hey, leave freehold leh. Freehold you say no then what is the purpose of freehold? In what situation your freehold will take away? Now I want to ask you, in what situation your freehold property will be taken away? Anyone know or not? In what situation your freehold status will be taken away, although that is a freehold? Anyone know or not? 监狱 redevelopment. Okay. In Malaysia, don't not to say don't trust there is a condition. The state government can take your freehold land when they use it for public infrastructure, like they want to build hospital, they want to build highway, they want to build MRT, public purpose public infrastructure purpose, then the state government has the right to take away your freehold property. But of course, they cannot just take away lah. They have to pay you compensation. Yes, Kai saying you can take more compensation. They can either give you cash or they will pay you, give you another property, discounted property to compensate. So that's why freehold in Malaysia does not mean really forever. In some cases, the state government or the government will actually take your land for public purposes, build highway, hospital, or even MRT or LRT. So that's why you can actually think about this one, not really forever. Okay. Of course, leasehold is a bit less attractive because leasehold, the tenure normally will normally up to 99 years. Then after that, it will revert back to the state authority. So after 99 years, you have to pay a lump sum money to pay the renewal fee. So the fee actually depends on the state also. And there is a problem also. After 99 years, there is no guarantee that you can renew. If the state government want to take that piece of land for redevelopment for public purposes, you are unable to renew. So that is the risk if you own a leasehold property. Okay? If it's not guaranteed you can renew, it depends. If the state authority say, hey, I want that piece of land for redevelopment, a new project or redevelopment for public purposes, then sorry, you cannot renew. That is a risk. The risk is very high. But then between freehold and leasehold, leasehold property is cheaper a lot. Okay? Compare freehold and leasehold property, because leasehold is very risky That's why the price is cheaper as compared to freehold. That is what we call trade-off. Okay? You want buy cheaper property, you have to bear higher risk. So see whether you can accept or not. After 99 years, maybe you are unable to renew the lease anymore. Okay? And another thing, let's say nowadays actually quite many leasehold property, especially in city center. So what are the good things if you buy a leasehold property? As I mentioned just now, cheaper house price, cheaper a lot as compared to the freehold property. Higher rental yield, meaning to say that if you recall the yield formula is equivalent to annual income divided by your property price. So if your property price is very low because you buy it cheaper so actually your yield will be increased higher. Your yield will be higher. So that's why if you buy leasehold property for investment, it should be quite good. If you look for investment, you buy leasehold should be quite good because the property price cheaper, you can rent out higher. Okay, so that are the good thing if you own a leasehold property. But then the weaknesses are the property price, the property loses value as the lease shorten, meaning to say that the value start to depreciate when the lease getting nearest to the expiry date. If new building, okay. But then if the building already 30 years already, then the property value will start to fall because 30 years are quite near to 99 years already. So the property value start to depreciate when it get closer to the expiry of the lease. Okay. Second, tougher financing option. If new building, no problem, you can get finance. But if you buy second house, secondary market, if the leasehold property already 30 years already, it will be quite difficult for you to get the financing from the bank as compared to new property, as compared to freehold property. Because the lease actually quite near to 99 already. So that's why the bank actually will tighten up the financing, the interest rate. So that's why here it means by tougher financing option. So that's why pro and con. See whether you can accept the weaknesses or not. But then generally, leasehold property should be very cheap as compared to freehold. Okay. All right. To sum up, what are the strengths of investment, of property investment? First one, I already explained, capital growth. You buy the property 200,000, after some time, it will appreciate to 400,000, even 500,000. That is what we say capital growth. Your capital appreciate over time. Second, income growth. Rent review. Income growth, as I mentioned before, right? You can collect the rental, correct or not? You can collect the rental. Rent review meaning to say that, say for example, now 2021, I rent the property to Jasper. Jasper my AA 500 lor, okay lah per month. So next year I feel that if the inflation rate increase already, I think I need to increase. So you can actually increase to 600. Then after some time again, you also can increase to 700. That is what we meant by rent review. You not only collect the rental for your income growth, but you also can increase your rental to hedge against inflation. Hedge against inflation. So that's why you can see your income will not be stick at one price forever. If you feel that the inflation rate start to increase, you can carry out rent review to increase the rental to hedge again, to fight against the inflation. So that's why property investment is also classified under inflation proof. So meaning to say that it's a good way to fight against the inflation. You can actually increase the rental to cover the inflation. Okay? Able to borrow money. When we buy property, you can actually get the bank loan. Correct or not? You just need to pay 10%. The 90%, you can actually get it from bank. But when you buy share, when you buy bond, when you buy FD or you buy unit trust, do you think you can borrow money from the bank to kickstart your investment? No such thing. But then for property investment, because you can borrow money from the bank, that's why it's actually considered quite good. You just need to fork out 10%, the balance 90% you can get bank assistance. All right. But other form of investment cannot No such thing. Okay. So that are some of the strength of property investment. About the limitation, large, indivisible, heterogeneous. Indivisible, as I mentioned before, cannot separate. Property is a large property. It's a large object. When you want to buy property, you cannot say, "Aya, today I no money, I buy the toilet first. Aya, today I no money, I got money a bit already, I buy living room. Then I buy the roof, I buy the second floor. You cannot buy part by part. Listen carefully. Cannot part by part. You have to buy in one bulk, one lump sum, one big property. But then for share, listen, for share is, okay, wait, divisible. Like let's say today I kickstart my investment. July, I buy 1,000 ringgit first I kickstart. Then after that, I feel next month I got increment already. Okay, I can top up. I top up another 500. I top up plus. Then September again, I think I need some money. So I withdraw. I redeem 300 minus. For share investment, unit trust investment, you can buy part by part. You can sell part by part. So this is what we call divisible investment. But for property, no such thing lah. You cannot say I buy the tiles first I buy the room first I buy the roof first no such thing But then for share is quite good is you can buy part by part. You can even sell or withdraw part by part Quite flexible. This is what quite flexible. Okay. In liquid, I think you all know already I don't want to explain already. High initial, I already explained now. Management cost. Don't ever forget when you buy property, you need to manage. You need to paint you need to renovate If you buy condo, you need to pay management fee, property fee, insurance, and then some of the utility bill. All these under what? Management fee, So you don't think that you buy one property already very happy. You need to manage. Your property will get sick. So get sick means leaking or repair, maintenance, insurance, bill, taxes. All these things you need to pay, in the long term. So that's why these are some of the things that people might quite afraid because you need to commit so much money in the long term. Last but not least, external influences and government interventions. Sometimes government will impose new tax, new policy, may change it. New tax maybe will change the percentage of stamp duty that you need to pay, or GST, SST. All these things actually quite subjective. It depends on the government. We do not know. Okay, Manatau, let's say government want to introduce a new tax. So when you buy property, you need to pay extra. So that is under external influences out of our control. It's actually subject to the government intervention. If let's say at the beginning, you buy Negeri Sembilan, because at ECRL high speed rail pass by Negeri Sembilan. So you go and quickly buy one property at Negeri Sembilan. But then when change of government, ding ding dong dong, they say that ECRL no more pass by Negeri Sembilan. High speed rail cancel, don't want to do already. No money. Then what happened to your property in Negeri Sembilan? You cannot appreciate already. You won't see capital appreciation so fast because of government intervention, which is out of your control. So all these things you need to take into consideration when you buy property. Okay? All right. Yeah, this is what I meant just now. Major policy update. Every year or during the budget review, government definitely will review those taxes and the tax. And you can see here, as I mentioned, RPGT. When you sell your property, you need to pay real property gain tax, RPGT. But right now, because of COVID and we are under recession. So under recession, the government will implement expansionary policy. So which means that you will see more exemption. But then when the economy become recover, then you will see the government take time to take your money. Right now, recession, they give you money. Give you a lot of money, give you a lot of subsidy. You wait lah. When the economy recover, that is the time they start to dig your money already. Okay. So right now, RPGD is exemption is applicable for Malaysia citizen. So another tax is the stamp duty exemption also because of the difficulty during this period. So all these policy will change over time, which will affect the property investment, purchasing, and the selling. Okay. Another policy will be this one, HOC, homeowner championship. Homeowner championship HOC. So actually already ended in 2019, but because of the pandemic, because of the COVID, they want to stimulate property buying. So how to stimulate? They actually create this campaign until end of 2021. So under this campaign, right, for residential property, you get 10% discount. And also, also, you no need to pay the tax. Some are the good thing lah. If you are the first home buyer, let's say right now after graduate, you want to buy a home, please go for this HOC because you are entitled to get 10% discount and you no need to pay any tax. Here, 10% discount, stamp duty exempted. So that's why it's actually quite good for those first home buyer who want to purchase residential property. Okay, so this is also one of the initiative lah. All right, so this is a new, you can further read lah. HOC stamp duty exemption extended till end of 2021. So here, under HOC, okay, you will actually get exemption for the stamp duty and also where is the 10%? You read lah, you will get 10% discount. So this is what I mentioned just now. External influences, government changes, the policy will change. So after end of 2021, then maybe you do not have all these incentive already. So no more 10%. No? So that's why these are the limitation when you purchase property. All right. And just for your information, early of the year, our government say want to re-evaluate GST. So they say they think that SST is not so good. So they are actually planning to re-implement GST. So all these GST, SST will also affect the property buying. So that's why these are the limitations like I mentioned just now. Okay. And yeah, count the cost when you buy a property. Not only initial cost, but also management cost. So when you buy property, of course, deposit lah, legal fee. Don't forget, let's say you have to pay stamp duty, insurance, mortgage insurance. And upon delivery of the vacant possession, you need to purchase whole insurance. Okay, to cover the loss and damages due to like vandalism, disaster, or even the other things. Maintenance fee, sinking fund, okay, quick rent, cukai tanah, you have to pay to the land office. Property assessment tax, cukai pintu, collected by the local authority. And indah water lah, electricity lah, Syahbas lah, air Selangor lah, that's all of these things. So that's why buy property not only high initial cost, but also management cost. I haven't count renovation fee. Renovation fee. Okay. This article very good. The pro and con to invest in property. So all these points I already explained in my lecture. I will encourage you to read more so that you will know how to produce in a very good writing. Okay, so this article actually I already posted in the Microsoft team. Feel free to read. All right. All right. Sum up. What are the key takeaway from this chapter? First, whatever investment, no matter I talk about property, bond, share, Bitcoin, gold, all these things definitely they have pro and con. They got their strength, they got their weaknesses. for the investment. That's why as an investor, you need to evaluate the pro and con of all these investment before you start to invest. And please remember that there is no such thing that we say risk-free or guarantee return investment. Even you put money in the bank, there is a possibility the bank will bankrupt. You wouldn't know, ma. Correct or not? I already shared with you before, ma. Some of the scandal, some of the financial crisis, the bank did fall. That's why there is no such thing that believe risk-free and the guaranteed return and risk investment. That's why we had to evaluate the measure, the 2R. Risk and return actually is a complex relationship. Just like a coin, 20-cent coin, the coin you had one head, you had one tail, isn't it? When you flick the coin, you can only get one, either head or tail. Just like investment, you can, if you want high return, you need to bear higher risk. Okay, there is no such thing that high return, low risk. There is no such thing. Okay, so that's why risk and return is a trade-off. Just like when you flip the coin, you can only get one thing at the same time. Just like economics, you choose one thing already, you have to give up another thing. You choose high return, then you have to give up the risk part. You need to bear the higher risk. That is an investment. It's a trade-off. You need to evaluate all the aspects to see you want high return, or you want stable return, or you want to low risk only. So that's why that are the message that I want to deliver to you for this topic. All right, that's all for investment topic. Any question? All right. Any question you can ask me in the chat box. Meanwhile, we will break for 10 minutes. Come back at, what is the time now? 10, 07. Okay, see you later. Remember to answer the quiz. Okay, I will check your attendance. Answer the quiz. Say, this is the same quiz just now. For those who answer, then you can ignore. Okay, so I will see you later. All right, student, welcome back. Okay, before I start to start a new chapter, can I ask you, if you have two options, imagine now you have two options on it. One, living in a haunted house. Second, living on the street. Can you let me know which option will you choose? Can you all respond in the chat box? If you have only two options, you will choose number one or you will choose number two. Tree haunted house. How about others? Susie living on the street. Susie, not scared, man, living on the street. Huh? Let somebody disturb you how? What, mostly living on the living under the bridge. Very good. Can I heard from Charles? Charles, are you there? Charles Chen. Charles, can you on your mic? Is Charles here? Hi, Charles.
Yes, me. Yes.
You remember or not? Last week, I say nobody want to stay beside the graveyard. Correct or not? You say definitely no lah. Correct or not?
Yes.
Now I ask you to choose. You want to choose which one?
Actually, I'll be willing to living on the street.
Are you sure?
Too scary lah, haunted house.
Hey, you all okay. Thank you, Charles. You all are living on the street, not scared, man? Huh? So from the answer, I think most of the people maybe don't want to live anymore. Okay, I like the answer. Don't want to live anymore. Correct, lor? Okay. The reason why I want to ask you this question is let you to have imagination. Let's say really lah, now you have only two options. Living in a haunted house is the first. Second, living on the street. Which one would you choose? Okay, so some of you provided many reasons. So most of you I can see lah, living on the street is your option. But then do you know in Hong Kong, Hong Kong folk do not mind living with ghosts. They choose the first option as long as they get a cheaper home. So you can see that here. If you ask this buyer whether they are afraid of ghosts or not, yes, I think all of us scared, right? I also scared lah. If you ask me to choose, I think I will choose number two also, or maybe I choose I don't want to live anymore, like Joran Lim say. Okay, yes, more or less everybody's scared of ghosts, right? But they are more afraid sleeping on the street. So for most of them, they will prefer to if they ask them to choose, they don't mind living with a ghost because if you aware that in Hong Kong, based on this figure, you can see that most expensive residential property market worldwide in 2020, you can see Hong Kong is the rank number one. It's the most expensive. Their property is really the most expensive worldwide. 1.25 million. I'm talking US dollar, Their average house price is 1.25 million in US dollar. If you convert to Malaysia dollar, RM, I think 5.25 million. So 5.25 million is really, really not affordable at all for most of the people. Don't say Hong Kong. Even in Malaysia, I don't think 5.25 to own a house is really affordable. So that's why they really don't mind to stay with ghosts as long as they get a house. That is the reason why here, because their house price is the most expensive as compared to other countries. So you can see top three. Second one will be Munich, Germany. Then third one will be our neighbor, Singapore. So these three countries, the house price is actually far beyond the affordability of the people. So that is the news that I would like to share with you about the house price around the world. Okay? All right. So move on to the next chapter. We are going to talk about market research. Okay, so this chapter will be quite useful for your assignment. All right. So we have learned about investment and also we talk about more on the property investment. So for this chapter, we are going to explain some of the fundamental of a marketing concept, Explain what does it mean by market research. Demonstrate the process. Okay, what are the process involved when we want to conduct the market research? And last but not least, you need to know how to conduct the market research in property development for your assignment. All right. Okay, for the chapter content, basically will be divided into marketing, market research, and also this one will be quite useful for you, the 7-step market analysis process. All right, when we kickstart talking about will be the marketing. So marketing actually the aim of doing marketing is we want to provide something unique, something different, so that we can attract people to buy. Let's say we are talking property, we want to attract people to buy the property. So that's why we need to do something different, unique, so that we can attract the people to purchase the property. A property development will consider success if the property can be sold. How we classify a property development is very success. It's not completed. Is the property can be sold, got buyer, not abandoned, not unsold, not property overhang. So that is what we say a successful property development. So that's why marketing actually plays an important role in actually selling the property. So when we talk about marketing, we need to remember the 4P. First P is the product. Okay, we need to market, we need to promote the correct product. So in terms of property would be like the design of the house, the size of the house, the location of the property, and also the surrounding, the neighborhood of the property. That will be the under the product. And then of course the second P will be you need to price it at a suitable price. Cannot overprice, cannot underprice, because these two things will affect the developer and also the buyer also. So that's why in terms of the marketing, the price also plays an important role. Promotion meaning to say that I talk about place first. You need to think about the property. Anyone? Okay, please off your mic. All right, the places and the promotion I will talk into together lah. So meaning to say that we need to think about how are you going to promote your product, the house, to the people at which place. So say for example, are you talking about physical promotion? Like let's say you have a road show, like those old days when you go shopping mall, right? You will see they got a exhibition, got people place a booth there. So if you are interested, you can go and see. Then they got the 3D model. So that is also under the marketing. Okay, but that one will be the physical. Physically, you visit you visit their showroom also can. Okay, that is under the physical. But nowadays, because of the social distancing, because of the COVID, we restrict the movement restriction. So most of the developer actually move to the digital marketing, virtual marketing. So you can see most of them, they will promote through Facebook, WhatsApp, their social media. That is also part of the marketing strategy also to create the awareness. Then they will ask you to join their virtual house tour. Although you cannot visit the house physically, but because of the technology, you can also view the house virtually. So that is under the place and promotion at which platform you want to promote. Okay, platform also can be like TV, maybe you create a website, or you have a Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. All these things can be your promotion tactic. Okay. And when we talk about market research, it can be divided into broad market perspective, specific market perspective. What is the difference? Okay. Broad market perspective applicable for multiple property located in the same place. Meaning to say that at the beginning, you do not know what type of property you want to propose. You just survey in random. So you actually carry out a broad market perspective. You compare a few different property. So whether it's residential, whether office, or whether retail. So you do not have any specific one. You just want to carry out a broad market research to see which property will be suitable. But then for specific is it limit to an individual property, meaning to say that the client already know what she or he want. So say for example, the client say, I want to build a residential. So that is under the specific market research. When you do market research, you just focus on residential only, rather than the broad market research. You do not know what are the development you want to do. But specific is client already spell out his need. He want to do residential property. So for market research, you just limit to this property will be sufficient already. Okay. And the differences between the broad market research, specific market research will be the amount of the information, amount of the research that you are going to do. So if you are target on one type of property already, one type of property only, which means the specific one, the amount of time, of effort, the resources, the information that you need will be lesser as compared to your research relevant to a large number of the property, which is the broad market research. Then the amount of the information, the resources, the time, okay, will be more as compared to the specific. So that is the difference lah. You will need more effort lah in the broad market perspective. All right. Then we have to remember that when we do market research, the entire real estate market is the outer one, the circle one. Then the real estate market can be divided into sub-market. So sub-market can be residential, commercial, or industrial. Okay, so even under the, let's say this is a residential. So under the residential, right, you can even divide it into sub-market. So even residential can be like landed, can be low rise, can be high rise. So even the landed can be divided into bungalow, semi-D, or single story, double story. So if high rise, it can be low density, medium density, highest density, high density. So you can see the market, the property market actually can be divided into sub-market and also sub-market. All right. And furthermore, when you have already divided the sub-market right here, let's say residential, commercial can be divided office or retail, and industrial. Then you also need to think about the location, whether it's a city center, inner city, suburban, or city fringe, because different location, okay, different location will have different buyer. Okay, their profile will be different. Their need, their purpose, their aim, their expectation, even their risk profile will be different. So that's why you need to figure out the location first. Then only you will know the buyer characteristic. Okay, like let's say city center, most of the time the buyer will be reclassified as a blue chip tenant, blue chip buyer. So most of them able to afford higher risk. Even if your property price at high price, they are willing to pay. As compared to suburban, because it's further away from city center, so the tenant profile here might not so strong as compared to city center. So as suburban, you cannot overprice your property. So that's why location will affect your property choices, your property development. You need to figure out the location first to understand the buyer and their expectation. Then only you will know that what are the suitable type of the property you can propose. Because different location will have different buyer and investor, and their purpose also will be different. All right? And what is the purpose? Why we need to do research lah? For what purpose? Reason for undertaking the market research. First one, of course, do research is for decision making. To assist the developer to make decision, because market always change up and down. So that's why we always need to conduct a latest research to keep ourselves update with the current market scenario, current market situation, due to the fact that market always change. If you recall that in the macroeconomic we already run, the property market always affected by the economic condition and also the financial market. So that's why we need to conduct this research to understand the market better. Then only when we have sufficient information and the data, it will actually help us to make decision what type of the development we need to propose, and when is the timing, when is the correct timing that we have to launch our property. So in order to make decision, we need data. How we get the data? Do research law. Okay. Second, to assist in the formulation of long-term development and or investment strategy. So if we didn't do the research, so you don't want to do research, lack of research, eventually it will affect the profit of the developer because you didn't do a proper research ma. So actually the profit will affect because you overestimate or underestimate. Then it will actually lose the opportunity of this investment, of this development. So maybe it's not viable to start first because right now it's not a very good timing ma. So when you do the research already, you know that this is a very good development, but right now it's not a good timing yet. So perhaps you can delay first until the market recover, or you can actually find out when is the best timing for you to kickstart this development. So that's why research is very important. You need to understand the market, then it will help you to formulate your long-term strategy. As I mentioned just now, maybe right now is not a good time to kickstart. So we can delay first. When the market recover, when the demand return, then that is the best timing for us to kickstart the development. All right. Last but not least, to analyze and predict the performance of property investment portfolio. So meaning to say that the purpose we do the research is we want to let the client know what is the percentage of return that you are going to get from this property development. So that is what we need to learn in development budget, development appraisal, to help to predict the performance. How much return, the rate of return that you are going to take from this property development. Even though when you conduct the market research, say for example, demand very good lah, supply very limited lah, so definitely this is a good property investment, property development. Then the client will ask you, how much is the return? Then you start off, you don't know how to answer. So that's why market research also included preparing the budget. You have to let the client know figure, what is the figure. They are more concerned about the figure rather than the black and white, the research lah. Okay. All right. This news is not in your slide. Actually, this one just released few days ago about a reporter, okay, interview EcoWorld CEO. Okay, they actually interviewed the CEO from the EcoWorld. So the EcoWorld actually mentioned about this one. Okay, maybe you talk about this one first. Over time, EcoWorld DNA has also evolved. Previously, they only focus on the environment, overall environment and fitting in the development. But now it has shifted to serving the like and want of the home buyer because the township already entered into the maturity stage. So after they conduct the research, they notice that the need of the buyer already changed. So they have started to look into from the young people point of view. So they call it a psychographic view. It will evolve, their life and the lifestyle will evolve. Like some of them like sport, some of them like shopping, some of them have children and aging parents. So we have to started looking into the lateral view as well. So that is meant by we need to always do research. It's not only that you kickstart the development, then only you need to do research. Consistently, you will notice that developer will conduct survey, conduct research to understand the buyer need better. Okay, so that is an example. All right, so for market analysis process, generally divided into these 7 steps. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the first step first. I think the rest, I will continue next week lah. Okay, so now first, property productivity analysis. Property productivity analysis meaning to say that there are certain, okay, here lah. There are certain attribute, or we say restriction. Okay, there are certain attribute, there are certain restriction which will affect your productivity capability. Okay, if you still recall microeconomic, we say that when MRP intersect with MC, then that is a point Y, that is the optimum point, remember or not? So optimum point meaning to say that your profit is maximized. So you need to stop building. Let's say the point Y is 30 floor. 50 floor. So we need to say that developer need to stop building at 50 floor. That is what we learn in microeconomic, based on the figure, based on the graph, based on the theory. So you know that when MRP intersect with MC, then Y is the optimum floor place, then you build 50 floor. So does it mean that you can build 50 floor? No. There are other restrictions, there are other attribute will affect your productivity. If you still remember, I say productivity is what? Intensively. It does not mean that you calculated 50 floor, you have to build 50 floor. Your government will restrict you to build the height of the building. So that is what we meant by we need to conduct a preliminary analysis of the legal, physical, location attribute, which will affect the productive capability and potential use of the property. Theoretically, we say 50 floor. In reality, your government will restrict you. Legal means the government restriction, government control. Every local government, the state government, will have their own land use local plan. So that's why all these plans we need to follow. If the government say you only can build 30 floor, you have to follow. This is non-negotiable because this is the law. This is a restriction set by the government. That is the legal part. Physical attribute meaning to say that perhaps it's the land, the attribute of the land, the size, the shape, the topography, the site constraint. Maybe the site constraint, the ground condition not so good, perhaps you cannot build 50 floor. Okay, that is under the physical constraint. Location attribute meaning to say that it depends on the location also. As it's quite similar to legal part lah. All the district, all the local authority, they will have their own land use zoning plan. So we have to follow. Like for example, some development, if too near to Istana Negara, is near to Istana Negara within 1 km, right? You have to follow the height restriction. Cannot too high. If the building near to Istana Negara, the building cannot too high. So that is under the location attribute because the building, if you want to build the building within 1 km from the Istana Negara, then you have to follow the height restriction set by the government. So that's why in microeconomy, we learn the theory, based on that 50 floor. But then in reality, your government will restrict you the height, the number of unit that you can build. So that is the thing that we need to do the consideration. All right. So say for example, in KL, they are actually using this KL City Plan 2020 at the moment. Just for your information, they are currently drafting KL City Plan 2040 because right now still in the draft stage. I don't think they will launch so soon now. But currently, just let you to know that very soon we will have KL City Plan 2040. So say for example in KL, they will use this plan, KL City Plan. So in Selangor, they will use Selangor Plan. So depends on the local authority. All right. So under the KL City Plan, you will see that they actually classify under different zoning. Each land, just like you, if you born in Sarawak, so your IC will show Sarawak. If the land is city centre, in different location, they will have their own IC also, whether it's CCC, whether it's DCC, NCC, or R1, R2, R3. Okay, depends on the location. All right, so I will normally call it as IC lah, the IC of the land. Okay, so in KL, generally there are seven primary use: commercial, mixed use, residential, industrial, institution, open space, and special use. So each primary use will be further divided into different land use zone. So say for example, mixed use. You see mixed use can be divided into mixed use commercial, mixed use residential. Even residential can be divided into R1, R2, and R3. So that is the primary use and the land use zone in KL. So in Selangor will be another different classification, another naming also. So different stage will have different classification and their naming. All right. So say for example here, let's say under CCC, you can see that under the plan, they will describe this zone is for what. What are the things that you can do? You can build hostel, you can build residential, you can build leisure hotel. What are the things that you cannot build? Prohibited use. You cannot build hypermarket, you cannot build a golf facility. So the plan purpose is actually tells you what are the things that you can do, what are the things that you cannot build. So that is the purpose. So it does not mean that you can build 50 floor. So we still need to follow the government plan, government control. All right. Okay. Under property productivity analysis, right? These are the certain point that we have to consider. First, infrastructure. So infrastructure meaning to say that when you look at the area, is there any highway? Is there any public transport? Is there any facility? Infrastructure here does not limit to highway, public transport only. It also limit to telecommunication, okay, water, electric supply. Okay, it's not limit to highway, public transport only. It also consider the telecommunication, water supply, electricity supply. Especially right now, since COVID-19, many people actually focus on the telecommunication, internet connection. So I have a student, she from Kelantan. So I asked her how about the internet connection at Kelantan. So she told me that at the beginning, very, very bad, the internet connection. Cannot connect to any Wi-Fi. No data at all at Kelantan during the time when we kickstart the OTL. So right now, slightly better as can connect, but the line also not to say very good. So that's why in one location, you should also consider this telecommunication, especially right now, since COVID-19, many people actually will ask, hey, that area internet connection good or not? Because right now, most of the people work from home, study from home, everything from home. That's why a strong, stable internet connection is a must lah. Okay, that is the infrastructure that you need to consider. Zoning is like what I mentioned just now, whether it's residential, whether it's commercial, even like residential, it could be R1, R2, and R3. Okay, title restriction will be either freehold and leasehold. Okay, so for your assignment, right, I don't need you to show me, oh, that piece of land is really freehold lah, that piece of land is really is a mixed use development. I just want you to do assumption only. Just assume now. Assume the zone is residential. Assume the zone is mixed use residential. Assume the title is freehold. Assume the title is leasehold. That's all. Don't need to show me the plan. You really dig out the Selangor plan. Show me. Oh, that is really the is a residential. That is a freehold. No need for assignment purpose. Just make it simple. Just do assumption only. And also, please limit your theory. I don't want theory part. Listen carefully. You must listen. I don't want theory. Don't you can explain a bit lah. Or you can explain one sentence but you don't explain one paragraph okay. Please limit the theory. Just imagine I am the client, straight to the point. Just tell me what is the zoning, what is the title, okay, what are the things that we need to do. That's all right. So this assignment is actually quite flexible, okay, not so straight. So please do not make it too complicated, because if too complicated, you put too many information, actually I found that you just copy and paste. You actually didn't filter the information. So to make it simple, quality is better than the quantity. Just make everything simple. All right. Linkage to measure employer and amenity, meaning to say that in that area, maybe you can see, is there any major employer? Like say, for example, in your assignment, maybe the major employer will be like Utah or the hospital, okay? Because that is the linkage. Or major amenity will be the mall. What is the name of the mall already? BMC Mall. That is also part of the thing that you can put into your assignment. Linkage to measure employer and also amenity. Okay. Public planning for growth. This one very important. Public planning, we need to say that any new planning from the government to grow this area. Again, I repeat again, public planning for growth, which means that any government planning to grow this area. Maybe they want to build major highway, or maybe they want to build MRT, or maybe they want to build a major mega development in this area. So all these things will affect the property productivity of the analysis. Because when the government intervene, let's say, you remember or not, I say, when there is an infrastructure improvement, the site value tend to be increased. So they will focus on that area. All right. Population trend, meaning to say that try to survey around what are the population trend in that area. Like let's say your assignment, I think, will be student population. Okay, so these are some of the things that you need to consider. And under this part, the most important thing is you need to calculate the intensity planning control. How high you can build. Why we need to calculate this one is, first, we wish to attain a sustainable built environment. Don't overbuild. If let's say everybody can build 50 floor, 100 floor, then you will see that the place will be very crowded, very packed. Okay. Strengthen the land use zoning control and use classes control. So meaning to say that in one area, we cannot just build residential. We must have some residential, office, or some the retail. So that will actually help the growth of a city. So that how we going to help? That's why we need to classify it in different land zone. All right. Last but not least, ensure development support infrastructure development as well as protect the urban amenity. So meaning to say that, as I mentioned, in one area, it shouldn't be just residential. It should be conceived of many different type of the development, so that we can provide more amenity and facility to the people in that area. Okay. So development intensity will be controlled in two forms. The first is what we call density control. Second one will be plot ratio. Density control only for residential, pure residential. If you want to do condo, full condo only, no shopping, no shop lot, that is under the residential development. except for area in city center. City center all use plot ratio. Okay, city center all will use plot ratio. For other state, if residential, density control. If you want to do mixed use, okay, you will use plot ratio. So to make your assignment simple, okay, listen carefully. Most of the students will KO in this part. I will give you low mark in this part if you didn't hear me carefully. If you propose residential, purely condo, then you use density control. If you propose commercial, office, retail, or mixed use, residential, or mixed use, commercial, you use plot ratio. One or two only. Do not calculate both. Make it clear. I repeat again. You only choose one, either density control, either plot ratio. In the assignment, I don't want to see any one of you calculate both. You calculate both, this part I gave you 0 because I already mentioned to you, don't do this. So listen carefully. If you choose residential, you use density control. If you choose mixed use, then you use plot ratio. That's all I need. Listen carefully. Okay. I want you to type okay if you understand. Please type okay if you understand. I want to make sure you know what I say. What am I saying? Can you type okay? Are you okay? Understand? So don't make this mistake, because I want to help you. But when I help you, you don't want to listen. When you submit the assignment, how lah? I cannot give you very high marks. Okay? Please do not kill yourself. Do not dig the hole and jump yourself. I already covered the hole for you. So you don't dig the hole and jump inside the hole already. All right? Okay, good. Thank you. All right. So for density control, okay, density control for residential only. Okay, for density control, usually to measure how many units of house you can build. I repeat again. Density control is to measure how many units of house you can build. So here, measure the amount of new housing scheme to be built. So the purpose here, you read yourself. All right. So for density control can be divided into R1, R2, R3, and public housing. So if you look at the definition, R1 is low density, 4% only, 4 to 40% per acre. R2 is medium density, 48 to 120 per acre. R3 is high density, 160 to 400% per acre only. So this is actually depends. So as I mentioned, if R3, then you can build more unit. If R1, you can build lower. So again, to make your assignment simple, I already said how many already? I think 100 unit per acre. Okay, so please follow. You don't tell me 48 lah, 120 lah, so you use 120. Jangan. I already say use this one. So your assignment, if you build residential, follow this one. Don't tell me R1 lah, R2 lah, R3 lah. Just straight to the point. Say assume 100 unit per acre. That's all. Make things simple because this is assignment only. I want you to know the theory part and how to calculate. That's it. Don't make things so complicated. All right. Okay. So here, as I mentioned just now, R1 will be lower density. Okay. R2 medium. R3 will be very high density. So for your assignment, it's actually classified under here 100 unit. Here, this one R3. 100 unit per acre. So you can say R3 lor. Okay, don't mention R1, R2 already. Don't show me Selangor plan. I'll say, oh, that one is actually 120. So that's why you use 120 to calculate. I will like this, speechless. Okay, please do not do that. Use 100. Okay. Okay, so for housing density, right, you can see that when we say density is actually for residential land use to control the maximum number that you can build. So normally density can be calculated by number of dwelling unit per acre. So if R1 should be landed, R2 should be like this, lower density. Then R3 should be very high density. I think one student asked me before, can we propose landed or not? Yes or no? If you propose landed, the question is I want to ask you, how many unit you can build? If you propose landed, first question, how many unit you can build? How much you need to sell? If let's say you want to sell 1 million, this 1 million people can afford or not? So that's why don't propose landed lah. Actually, you cannot propose landed also because I already mentioned R3, 100 unit per acre. So everybody please follow. Please do not propose landed. Okay? Say for example, how to calculate? Okay, let's say this is your land area. Okay, your land area is 27.5 acre. Okay, the assigned density meaning to say that the local authority say you can only build 80 unit per acre. Very simple only. You just use the area times 80. Then total unit you can build on this area is 2,200 unit maximum. Okay, I repeat again. This is the calculation maximum. It does not mean you need to fully utilize 2,200. Okay, it does not mean that you need to build up to the maximum, because later on you need to do your budget. You need to calculate your development budget. Although it allows you to build 2,000, but still remember I say or not, the higher you build, what are the costs incurred? You need to calculate, correct or not? So that's why you don't say, oh, I'm happy I can build 2,000 unit. When you calculate the cost, then you will know 2,000 unit, the cost will be higher. Your revenue may be cheaper, cannot able to cover. So this is actually serve as a baseline to tell you that this is only the maximum unit you can build. You can build 1,000 as long as don't more than 2,200. That's all. Okay. And when we calculate the density, right, we actually calculate in gross lah. Don't need to deduct the toilet area lah, the corridor lah, the car park lah, tak payah, no need. Everything measured in gross. Everything lump sum. Make it simple. Okay. All right. I think plot ratio, I don't have time. Maybe next week I will talk about plot ratio lah. Okay. So any question? If you have question, you can type in the chat box. If no, then I will see you next week to talk about the plot ratio and the subsequent step. All right. Any question? Remember, scan your attendance.